Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Thanks for joining me today. I'm a little late to it this month, but I am back with my one palette series. This is a video series where I take one color palette and I create several cards using the same color palette. And this month I'm feeling all the jolly vibes. So I am using the Club Kits of the Month from Spellbinders. I have the Die of the Month Club Kit here for October. I'm also going to be using this coordinating stamp set that is available as an add-on. I have the Glimmer of the Month, which features this beautiful kind of holiday bouquet, and I love this bow and those little round sentiments. This is the large Die of the Month Club for October 2023, and this features an adorable shop with a little floral border. I'm going to show you how I make a shaped card out of that. And then finally, I'll be using the embossing folder of the month. And this month, the embossing folder has these beautiful kind of ornate ornaments. And I'm going to show you how just doing a simple tone-on-tone background with a couple of colorful die cuts can make a really beautiful card with this embossing folder. Now let's look at the color palette that I'm using, and I'm calling this the Jolly color palette. I'm featuring Poppy, Salmon, Blush, Greenery, Sea Glass, and black cardstocks. And you're going to see as I put these cards together that depending on the amount of each color that I use, it can really change up the look and the vibe of the entire card, even though I'm using the same color palette. So on this first card, I'm using the Die of the Month kit, and I am just sorting through all of my dies and figuring what I need to cut everything from. I'm actually going to do a pink Santa, and in this card, you're going to see that this palette really takes on almost like a retro 50s feel. I'm going to bring in silver. I know that's a big shock, but for me, I'm usually a gold girl, and so for this palette, silver just really felt right. So I like to use the packaging that comes with these die sets to help me determine what I need to die cut each die from. And if you don't have the exact color cardstock that you're looking for, you can always die cut your dies from some white cardstock and use a marker or colored pencils or other coloring mediums to add color. In this case of this face, it cuts out his nose, his face, his eyes, and his cheeks all on one die. Well, I knew I didn't want those all from the same color, so I just used some Copic markers to add the correct colors to each of these die cuts. Now I am taking some liquid glue and I'm adhering the pieces together. So I have his little cheeks there, and now I have his beard, and I'm just going to lay that right over the top. I did add a little bit of shading to his beard and some of the white pieces on his coat and hat using a toner gray marker, and I'm just assembling this together. It's really pretty easy to do. Now I'm grabbing this coordinating stamp set that's available as an add-on, and I am going to heat emboss this Oh What Fun greeting onto a red banner that I die cut from one of the dies in the set. And I've prepped the surface using a anti-static powder tool, inked up my stamp with some Versamark ink, and then added my white embossing powder and heat set that. So now I have an adorable greeting on this banner. And I did want to mention there are a couple die cut greetings available in this die set. So even if you don't pick up the stamp set, you have some dies available for you. So once I have my little banner assembled, I'm going to attach it to his little hand there. And now I am taking a piece of cardstock, and this is what I call my 1-2 trick. So I like to create angles on the front of my card, and I find that often if I start with one corner at the 1-inch mark and the second corner at the 2-inch mark, I get a really cool angle. It's like a perfect angle. Now, if that's not quite tall enough for me, I'll just move it over a 1/2 inch. So I'll go to the 1.5 and the 2.5 inch mark and create that angle. Now I'm going to use both of the angled pieces that I've created with this Sea Glass cardstock today, and the smaller one I'm using on this card here. Now I did grab the tree from the large die of the month, and I die cut that from the Greenery cardstock just to bring a little bit of that green into this color palette. And now I'm adhering that angled piece of Sea Glass cardstock onto an A2 size card front, and I'm going to add a couple of colorful strips. So this brings in that really jolly feeling, a little bit retro, and I've nestled a piece of silver cardstock in between this lighter pink and red cardstock on my card front. Now, if you don't have some A2 layering dies, you need to get some. I trimmed that panel down using one of my A2 precision dies from Spellbinders, and then I mounted my Santa on top of my card front using some foam adhesive. I added that to my card base and a couple of glitter drops on that tree to finish it off and give some shine. Now for card number 2, I'm going to use the same color palette, but it's going to feel really different because it has a lot of green that I'm using. So I'm shifting this over just a bit. And this card features the Glimmer Club of the Month from Spellbinders for October 2023. And I'm going to use some matte silver cardstock. And while I wait for my Glimmer platform to heat up, I'm just going to use the bow die that is included in this Glimmer set and die cut it from some red cardstock. Now I'm going to change that in a bit, but you'll see that here. So once my Glimmer platform is heated, I am going to add my plates onto the Glimmer platform. With the plate side towards the back, I have the pretty side of my foil facing my plate design and the uglier side facing my cardstock. And I've added those onto my platform and set the timer. Once the timer was done, I went ahead and removed the base from the platform, and I'm going to run that through my Platinum 6 die cutting machine. Now I'm allowing that little bouquet to kind of overlap the edge of my cardstock a little bit, just kind of bleed off of it. I'm not being super precious about where I put everything. I could use some tape to hold it in place, but I wasn't too worried about it because I knew I'd be trimming it down. And once I've run that through my die cut machine, I have this beautiful foiled result in that gorgeous matte silver foil. Now here's the little sentiment. It's the circle little sentiment that says joy. It is like one of my favorite things from all of the kits this month. It's so simple, but I love it so much. And I used the coordinating die to die cut that out. And now I'm trimming down my panel with, you guessed it, another one of those A2 precision layering dies. Now I brought in that other angled piece that I created by cutting that first piece of sea glass cardstock. And when I saw the red bow on this, I just felt like it was too basic Christmas, like red and green. And so this is where I decided to switch it up and create the light pink bow instead. Now I've also die cut that bow 3 times from some heavyweight white cardstock, and I'm stacking that up to add a little dimension. And now I have the 2 colors of pink. I have that lighter pink and the darker pink that will kind of be in my focal area. Now to bring a little bit of contrast and a little bit of that black into my palette, I did die cut the bow from some black cardstock, and I slightly offset the pink bow, kind of creating a shadow. And then I added that to the base of my hot foil design, and I'm going to add my little sentiment piece right at the center of the bow. Now, I still felt like this needed a touch of red, and so I'm bringing in a single glitter droplet here in the center, kind of at the center of the bow. And you can see I've layered that up on some silver cardstock. I've used that angled piece of sea glass in the back, and I have a beautiful card that feels very different from the first card. Now for card number 3, I'm going to use the large die of the month kit from Spellbinders, and this features this adorable kind of floral topped shop. And this is going to feel a little more sophisticated, even though it uses the same colors as before, because I'm using a lot of white. So I'm going to die cut all the pieces I need from the various colors of cardstock, and then I'm going to die cut the shop base from some white cardstock. And I'm going to die cut it a second time from some green cardstock. And I'm going to make a shaped card with this die set. So once I have both of them die cut, I'm going to take the white one, which is going to be my actual shop front, and I'm going to trim off all the floral pieces that are along the roof line. And you can see I'm not being super careful with this. Eventually, the die cut piece that creates the roof shingles will kind of layer over the top of this, so it will kind of disguise if you didn't do a perfect job on trimming this off. But you can see I have that little shop front there. And then on the green piece, I'm going to actually fold on the score line created by the die to create kind of this shaped card base. Now I die cut this from green cardstock because some of that greenery at the top will not get layered dies over the top of it. So I wanted that to be green so that my greenery would be green. The floral pieces, the berries and all of that will have die cut pieces layered on top to change the color. So I die cut this from some green cardstock. I folded on that line, and now I'm going to add some tape runner adhesive just to the roof area of this green piece that's been folded. Now, once I have my adhesive in place, I'm going to line up that white piece that I trimmed down with my scissors and just press it onto this card base that I've created. And now I have a folding functional card. Now it's time to just add all of the pieces on top of this shop to decorate it. I have the roof line die cut from black, so you have a lot of black and white on this card, which makes it a little more sophisticated. And then all of my color is kind of contained a lot at the top of this card where the floral piece is. You can see I brought in that sea glass color for the windows, and I'm going to add this little Noel die cut sentiment here right on the top of the door awning, which I thought was really cute, and I die cut that from some black cardstock. Now it's really easy to figure out where all of these florals go because they fit in just like a puzzle, and so I have all those positioned on that top greenery piece, and now I'm going in with a white jelly roll pin. And I'm adding some white lines along the little scored slit lines or glare lines that the die creates. I'm also going to add some snow on my little trees that I have on the front of my shop. And I'm also going to add some snow on that black roof line. This is a fun little detail, but it is definitely something you can skip. You can see how it kind of brings the snowy scene to life. And I really like grabbing my white gel pen and just adding a little detail. So that finishes off card number 3. You can see it feels very different than the other cards, even though we're using the exact same color palette. And I love how this stands up nicely for display. Now my 4th and final card is very simple. It features some colored cardstock strips as well as that embossing folder, but I wanted to create kind of an angled line for this embossing folder. So I have my A2 size card front, and I'm creating just a couple pencil tick lines at the 2-inch mark and the 3-inch mark. That's going to guide the edge of my embossing folder. So I'm placing this cardstock with the bottom portion hanging out of the embossing folder, and I'm just lining up that angle using the 2 little pencil marks that I created. And that's kind of that same 1-inch difference ratio that I created before on my angled die cut piece, only this time it's at 2 and 3 inches. Now I'm going to grab my universal platform here for my Spellbinders Platinum 6, and I'm going to use the A and B platform bases. I'm going to add my embossing folder with the cardstock and then a C plate and run that through. And now I have this beautiful embossed pattern on my cardstock that kind of follows that angle. And now I'm going to add some colored cardstock strips in that greenery, blush, and salmon colored cardstock. Now, because I'm obsessed with this bow and I had that red piece left over from what I die cut and decided not to use earlier, I'm going to kind of repeat this bow arrangement here. This time I'm tucking a couple of the holly leaves from the large Die of the Month club here behind the sentiment, and then I'm just adding that at an angle across these colored cardstock strips on my embossed panel, and I finished that off with just a few little glitter drops there along those holly berries. So there you have it, 4 card projects, 1 color palette. All of them feel so different based on the ratios of color that I used in each of them. One can feel very retro and another very sophisticated, and I love playing with this 1 palette series every month. Now, as always, I'll have links to the featured products used in these projects in the description at YouTube. So if you're looking for something in particular, be sure you check there. Keep in mind, there's only a couple days left to sign up for these October 2023 Club Kits of the Month from Spellbinders. So if you want them, you better go grab them now. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed these card projects and I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to let me know in the comments below which of these 4 cards is your favorite. And if you love this video, be sure to like and subscribe and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of my one palette series or the other card making and paper crafting projects I share here. If you're looking for more information than you can find in the video description at YouTube, be sure to visit my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. I'll have that linked below as well. I want to thank you again so much for stopping by. Thanks for watching. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.